Hello and welcome to this week's edition of ELCAT News. I'm your host, Jen Carlos. On Thursday, the East Longmeadow Health Department issued an alert to residents regarding mosquito-borne eastern equine encephalitis. Health Director Amy Petrosky explains what it means for the community.
On Wednesday, September 4th, the Health Department was notified via Massachusetts Department of Public Health that there were 2 positive mosquitoes from our most recent pool sampling. East Longmeadow receives weekly sampling through our involvement with the Mosquito Control District. DPH comes out weekly and sets 2 different traps in the town to get a sense of what mosquitoes we have, how abundant they are, and what viruses they might be carrying.
Petrosky says that with beautiful autumn evenings on tap, residents should continue to use an abundance of caution throughout the first hard frost.
So even the 2 positive mosquitoes does not change our risk level through Massachusetts Department of Public Health. So the messaging from the Health Department remains the same: personal protection and being thoughtful before we engage in activities in the dusk to evening is really your best prevention. Ways to prevent mosquito bites are mosquito repellent such as DEET, treating your clothes with permethrin, eliminating activities between dusk and dawn, and if you have to go outside, also using long sleeves and long pants. The health department's received a lot of questions recently about if we are going to be eliminated sports, recreational events in the evening, and at this time that is not the recommendation from the Department of Public Health, but should anything change, the health department will be updating all our residents via our Facebook, website, and robocalling system to let them know that something has changed. We don't anticipate that at this time, but the town will follow the guidance of the Massachusetts Department of Public Health when restrictions and if restrictions are necessary. My best judgment is we will be increased if there is a human case, if there is a equine case in town, or if there is a human or equine case in any of the surrounding communities. So like in Granby, they had a horse test positive, and you'll see all in the southern communities that are adjacent to them all went to high. Anything further out just keeps that moderate. And we were bumped to moderate last week as a result of EEE being found in Agawam. So once we're kind of at that level, they assume that it is in all of these areas, but it won't be until there is another kind of indicator that we would get bumped up. One of the EEE is different than some of the other vector-borne diseases like West Nile virus because EEE does have the potential in 1/3 of the cases to be fatal. So whereas West Nile virus, we have minor flu-like symptoms unless you're an infant or a senior or have a weakened immune system. So with EEE, 1/3 of the cases are fatal, and those that aren't fatal will result in permanent lifelong neurological damage that can range from something minor to things that are more severe. The first symptoms that you'll have if you have EEE is you'll start to have really bad headaches, trouble moving your neck, like stiffness in your neck, and your fever will be really high, like 103 to 106. But if you have any concerns that your neck is stiff or your head is really bothering you in a way that you just can't get rid of, you should definitely reach out to your healthcare provider. We do urge our residents, we try to be as open with our information as possible. We update our Facebook daily. We also have a website where we have the mosquitoes and tick information. It's on the left-hand navigation side. And we have the up-to-date, up-to-minute updates from DPH. We also have all our recent mosquito control reports and all of the fact sheets around EEE, West Nile, how to protect your family, and products that you might be able to buy to protect yourselves. We are happy to answer any calls because we know this isn't something that the average person thinks about often. And in the health department, we do have to think about this and plan for it and think of messaging and education and helping our residents feel comfortable and safe. Enjoying the fall is a priority for us. So call with any questions or concerns.
The search is underway for a permanent town manager. At its meeting on August 21st, the council voted to retain Community Paradigm Associates of Plymouth to manage the process. Town department heads have already received a short questionnaire from Paradigm regarding budgets, personnel, and initiatives. They are scheduled to meet on Wednesday, September 11th with Bernard Lynch, the company's founder and principal. With word last week of the resignation of Joe Ford, there is now a vacancy to be filled on the council as well. In an email, Ford said he plans to speak publicly about his decision during public comments at the council meeting on September 10th. The charter requires the appointment of a replacement by the council within 30 days of the date of resignation. According to Council President Kathleen Hill, currently 3 have expressed some interest. Hill expects the council to discuss further both the process and a timeline at Tuesday's meeting, with a possible vote on the replacement at the September 24th meeting. The appointment runs through June 30th, when the seat will then be filled by the regular town election. Anyone interested in serving on the council through June may contact the council through the clerk's office at 525-5400 extension 1000. And speaking of the clerk, Tom Florence, who has served for 17 years in that office, announced last week that he is leaving East Longmeadow for an opportunity in private sector banking. Florence stopped by ELCAT earlier this week to talk about the opportunity and his decision to leave East Longmeadow government.
It was a tough decision, and, it took me something, to make me move. And, again, servicing the town for so many years, it's growing up here and having family here, it's just been terrific. But, to get back into the private sector at this point, was a job that's very interesting, and, much looking forward to it. I will be working for East Hampton Savings Bank. Yeah, I'll be a vice president of government banking, and I'll still be working with municipalities. In fact, East Longmeadow will be one of my clients, because we do have our lockbox services, a CD, and our driveway bonds with East Hampton Savings. And I'll be driving to different municipalities to offer the same type of products that municipalities can benefit from. And East Hampton is really growing right now. They just merged with Abington Savings, or they actually purchased. They're under the umbrella of Hometown Financial, and they purchased Abington Savings, Millbury Savings, and Plymouth Savings Bank. So they're pretty much coast to coast now. And they got into the government banking market about 6 years ago, and they become quite a competitive player. They have a lot of cities and towns in Western Mass and in Central Mass also, and they'll be looking to expand out in the eastern part of the state at this point too. The number one thing I'll miss is servicing the people of East Longmeadow. If it was collecting their taxes, investing their money, or lately doing all the elections, doing business certificates, certified copies of marriage certificates, and performing some marriage ceremonies at times to help the people who want to come in and have that. But servicing the people in town is what I'll miss the most. I think after 3 years, we've got things going in a very positive direction for the town. We've tried to add to the services to be fiscally responsible the best that we can. We do have a ways to go. In fact, one of the things that's on the docket for the next council meeting is to talk about a bylaw to form, according to the charter, a charter revision committee. Every year that ends in a 0, it's time for a professional group of people with the right skills to service the town in that committee capacity to make sure our government is running the way it should be. And do we tweak it? Do we change this person's responsibilities? Do we this? Do we add that? So that's going to be an important part going forward, is what the Charter Review Committee decides to come up with to amend the charter as it sits right now. And right now, I know certain council members have written down many ideas on possibly what to do to make it more efficient, more effective. And again, with how the charter is written, I think this first 3 years we've done a great job getting to where we are right now. However, there are things that we knew we had to tweak. And none of it's growing pains, but just things to make things better. And there's a handful of things that the council wants to pass on to this Charter Review Committee. And it's going to be very important. And hopefully we'll come up with something by this time next year to make things even better. But, being part of the first 3 years as town clerk and clerk of the council, I feel privileged to see us through a new point in time, a new point in history, new players. And I think going forward, I think things are in good hands.
The Conservation Commission welcomed a new member at its meeting on August 28th. Francis Corniotti was appointed to fill the seat vacated by Will Arment, who resigned from the commission in June.
I'm very concerned about, the environment and keeping the lands that need to be kept without buildings, and when there is building, that it protect the environment, and I like what you're doing.
Commission Clerk Jeffrey Bosworth then noted that another vacancy would open up with the expected departure of member Bob Sheets, and that one of the difficulties of filling board vacancies is the lack of information provided for prospective members about what they're actually going to do.
The reason that I drafted the ad the way it was is because somebody might not even know what the heck we do. And what I was trying to do is to, instead of saying, Conservation Commission has a vacancy, anybody interested, please submit a letter. It kind of tells them what we're doing and what we're about. So somebody who doesn't know may say, oh, it might spark an interest. So, oh yeah, hey, well, maybe something I want to get involved in.
Issues around housing and vulnerability to climate change were on the agenda for Tuesday's planning board meeting. Members heard from 2 consultants from the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, an agency that contracts with cities and towns to provide technical planning assistance and access to state grants for many kinds of projects.
So I think most people might just visualize a large apartment complex that is, quote, subsidized. Maybe you can just inform the public about all the different varieties of how something becomes affordable in the eyes of the state.
Well, affordable in the eyes of the state is that someone with 80% or less of the area median income can afford it. And the form of that housing unit can be anything. It can be an accessory apartment. It can be a small sized single-family unit. It could be a 2-family unit. It could be townhouses or a small apartment development. There have been many, many different ways of doing this more recently.
As far as what I'm here to talk about with the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program and how that is going to work with your master plan, the grant, this year's grant, it's sort of a 2-part grant. You've got part 1, it's the planning phase. So you are funded to engage in a planning process to look at the impacts of climate change, where the town is vulnerable, where the town has strengths, and what are some priority actions to take to reduce those vulnerabilities to the impacts of climate change.
The presentations were part of a broader discussion by the board of the development of a townwide master plan, something that is required by the Commonwealth to be updated every 10 years. The town last developed a master plan in 1977. Director of Planning and Community Development Constance Broaders introduced members of the Master Plan Subcommittee before outlining the elements of a master plan and suggesting an ambitious timeline for its completion.
Please introduce yourself to the board, and please tell the board a little bit about your background and why you've expressed your interest in participating in the Master Plan Subcommittee.
Sure. I'm Connor O'Shea. I live in town. I've grown up here my entire life. I currently work at Big Y as a software developer, so hopefully I can bring some community and tech expertise to the future of the town.
Thank you for volunteering.
Thank you.
All right. Well, my name is John Cooper. I've lived here for about 13 years, moved here from Los Angeles, where I've seen areas that have not been planned well, which is one of the reasons that I left. Funny thing, I'm also in software development. I work from home, and so it's a little isolating. And I'm just interested in helping to see where the town's going to go over the next 20 years. My kids are going to grow up here, and there you go.
Welcome.
Master plan is also known as a comprehensive plan. And the master plan sets forth goals, analyzes existing conditions and development trends, describes and illustrates a vision for the physical, social, and economic characteristics of the community in years to come, and provides policies and guidelines intended to implement the vision.
Connie, what do you envision for a time frame for a creation of a master plan?
So I would like to have the master plan, I would like to complete it within a year. I think we started talking about it last year, and it, for one reason or another, didn't move forward as quickly as I would have liked to have seen it happen. I think given
The East Longmeadow Bark Park Association and the Rec Department held the second annual Drool in the Pool at the Pine Knoll Recreation Area on Tuesday. With the pool closed for swimming for the season, Rec Department Assistant Director Giordi Emanuel said the dogs got the last chance for an evening of splashing and diving before it's drained for the winter.
So this event is typically done every year. It's run through the dog park, and the East Longmeadow Recreation Department helps out. I would say today we have about 15 to 20 dogs here. It's a great event, and it's usually done on the day after Labor Day, so we have enough time to take out the chlorine, make it safe for the dogs. Because after Labor Day and after the chlorine is drained, we're not able to have people in the pool.
Emmanuel also took time to run down the Rec Department's upcoming fall program of events.
So this fall we're adding a lot of new programs. We're updating a lot of the programs. We have a lot of special events that are going to be upcoming. So specifically we have a townwide tag sale coming up in the fall. It's on September 21st with the rain date of September 28th. Participants have the option to purchase a plot for $25. It's from 9 to 3. It's at the Council on Aging. People can purchase a plot and sell their household items. We're going to be selling food there. Last in the spring, we had about 700 to 800 people attend, and we had about 15 to 20 people buy spots. And we're expecting more this year, this in the fall. Another program that we're running this fall that's going to be new is called XTAC Extended, or Extreme Teen Adventure Camp Extended. This past summer we started a camp, and it was for teenagers in grades 5 through 10. And we wanted to continue that through this fall with one trip every Friday night for the same group of kids. We're also having a lot of holiday events. We have 3 movie nights scheduled at the Rec Department. We have Mommy and Me yoga. We have 18 and older yoga and cardio strength. We have a bus trip to the Red Sox game next month. We have a trip to the Patriots game in October, and then we have a day in New York City in December close to Christmas. So we're excited with all these changes. We're excited for the additions, the subtractions. We're hoping that everybody can come out.
Summer may be over, but with a few more weeks till frost, resident Doug Long is still diligently harvesting and sharing vegetables with seniors from his community garden plots at the Brown Farm on Hamden Road. Long, with co-volunteer Larry Rinaldi, plants and maintains the giving gardens at the site, donating their harvest to the senior center. We caught up with Long and the Council on Aging Outreach Coordinator, Danelle Tavella, last week.
We are here because the community garden is run by East Longmeadow residents, and we are very fortunate to have East Longmeadow residents, one in particular, Doug Long, who comes and harvests the vegetables that he grows here and brings them into the senior center for the benefit of all the residents, senior residents who come to the senior center. But Doug Long has taken it upon himself with other individuals who actually work in the garden, possibly help him harvest the vegetables, and brings them in for the seniors. And believe me, they love fresh vegetables. They are so enthusiastic that if they're participating in an exercise program or other programs, they completely drop what they're doing and they run over to the vegetables. So it is definitely a win-win for everybody. There's a lot of folks in town that we rely on and utilize, so it's awesome. We love the participation.
Long explains that the idea of the Giving Garden was part of the Community Gardens project from the very beginning.
Well, this actually was after the town purchased the Brown Farm, and this became part of Friends of the Brown Farm. A group got together and decided to utilize some of the land as a community garden. Came to their meeting. That first year, based on the town putting in the road, that's to my right, and the water behind me, we really had a late start. So we just had one plot. All of that produce went down to the senior center because the thought of the community garden volunteers was that there would be at least one plot that would just grow vegetables for the senior center. And it took off from there. Next year, maybe 4 or 5 plots, 10 plots. This year, we actually had 26 plots sectioned out. We have 25 gardeners here, novice gardeners, real honest first-time gardeners to very experienced gardeners. And I have 2 plots, again, that help. Larry Rinaldi helps me, and all the produce that we produce in what's called the giving garden is brought down to the senior center. We have, through yesterday, brought down over 750 pounds of vegetables just this year, and we still have a lot of tomatoes, beans, just planted some more eggplants, summer squash, cucumbers, so there hopefully will be quite a bit more produce to bring down. Many of the other gardeners here will bring produce also down to the senior center, but it's not counted as part of the giving garden. As you can see, a lot of people will plant flowers to beautify the area, as well as a little deterrent. Some of the flowers are deterrents to some insects and pests. This year we were very excited when Donna was contacted by George Kingston in regards to the East Longmeadow Garden Club coming down and taking over a plot down at the community garden and creating a pollinator garden. And obviously the pollinator garden is designed to attract butterflies, bees, those that will help pollinate not just their garden, but the whole community garden. So we're very excited that they were joined us this year, and I believe they'll be here for many years to come. We were very blessed when 2 years ago we came under the purview of the rec department. Donna, the manager, has been just a world of help to us in getting the word out through advertisements and then just supporting us. And I really have to thank her. I do also want to thank John Burney at Meadowbrook Farms. Most of the gardeners here will buy plants. Some will start them at home with seed. But John has, since the beginning, has donated all the plants that I plant in the giving garden, because again, the produce is all going down to the senior center. Typically in the early spring, Donna will put some information out as part of the rec department flyers, and just contact her and sign up. And as I said, we have actually 26 plots. We still had a few open this year. So we still have opportunities for others to join us, as well as anyone who wants to come back.
Staying Fit has a whole new meaning for an energetic group of young people participating in a new program run by resident and fitness trainer Kelly Phillips called Totally Adaptive Fitness. The classes meet in the community room at St. Paul Lutheran Church on Elm Street, and Phillips says that the program offers benefits on many levels to these very special kids.
So at Totally Adaptive Fitness, we strive to take each individual where they're at and then help to bring them up, to raise them up to their fitness goals above and beyond. We do that because everything is so individualized. I use a variety of fitness modalities, if you will, especially the TRX, which you can see behind us, the yellow suspension trainers. TRX gives us the perfect opportunity to address each individual's goals. Reflexive yoga is an amazing program. It utilizes the TRX suspension trainer plus power vinyasa yoga, coupling those together so it gives people a really unique experience. And for these guys, I've taken and adapted it for special needs, so we can just do so much with it for people. The other nice thing that happens, friendship building and establishing relationships. And this is for our clientele, but also for the parents and families. They meet one another, they interact, they get ideas from one another. It's just such a home run. So my goal personally is to reach out to a broader audience and to get more people in here. I now have 19 TRX suspension trainers. I'm so blessed. This is through 2 grants I received, one from Unify Against Bullying, an amazing organization, and the other through Radcliffe is the Reason, and Arthur too, another wonderful foundation that benefits people with autism. So they generously granted me so that we were able to expand, and now I just want to share that with more people.
Now here's a look at what's happening at the library this week. On Tuesday, September 10th from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. is a poetry circle. Share a poem, recite a poem, discuss a poem. An informal group of teens and adults that love poetry, facilitated by Ron DeBoer. Meets the second Tuesday of the month starting September 10th, no registration required. On Saturday, September 14th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. is a preteen creative writing workshop. All you need is your notebook and a pen or pencil. Sessions are 2 hours with a little break in between prompts. This workshop will meet on the second Saturday of the month until May 9th, facilitated by Marie Tucker. And also on Saturday, September 14th from 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. is Sail Away on the Craft of Pastel Painting. All supplies provided. This program is funded by the Friends and a grant from the Cultural Council. This program is for adults 18+. The East Longmeadow Veterans Memorial Committee will hold a community fundraising ziti dinner on Friday, October 11th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Pleasant View Senior Center. Tickets are $12 per person. The committee is raising funds to build a permanent Veterans Memorial in front of the Pleasant View building. Last month, State Representative Brian Ash presented the group with $100,000 in funding he had sought to include in this year's budget.
All right, well, it really is my honor to be able to present a check for $100,000 from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, East Longmeadow Veterans Memorial Committee. I'm honored to know these fine gentlemen here. Over the past probably 10, 15 years, I really got to know them and the dedication they have for not only East Longmeadow, but veterans in general. And so when I heard they were doing the Veterans Memorial and how much it would cost, I said I wanted to step in and try to do something if I could. And I had this as one of my priorities in the budget, and I was absolutely thrilled that we were able to come through with the help of my colleagues in the House and the Senate and the Governor's office. So I'm extremely proud today to be able to present this check for $100,000 to the East Longmeadow Veterans Memorial Committee. God bless you guys.
And a reminder, the town's 125th Anniversary Committee has announced plans for a semi-formal gala dinner to be held on Saturday, November 16th. The gala will feature a cocktail hour, sit-down dinner, entertainment, and a video recapping the events and celebrations that have been taking place throughout the year. Tickets are $40 per person for the semi-formal event. Seating is limited and no tickets will be sold at the door, so residents are encouraged to buy tickets early for this community celebration, capping the town's 125th year. And finally, residents are invited to participate this Wednesday in the annual 9/11 Vigil to be held at the East Longmeadow Fire Department beginning at 8 p.m. The ceremony honors all who perished in the 2001 terrorist attacks on the morning of September 11th. Residents may bring a candle to light during the ceremony, and the public is invited to join first responders, public officials, and guests for refreshments afterward. Again, that begins at 8 p.m. at the fire station on Summers Road. That's it for this week's edition of ELCAT News. I'm Jen Carlos. Thanks for watching. See you next time.